Hello and welcome to this brief overview of the Wellbeing online resource that we provide for school staff. Wellbeing is always important, and within schools, not just for the individuals, but for the impact it has on the school as a whole. But at the moment, wellbeing is particularly important. Research has shown a very deep impact that the coronavirus crisis is having on the wellbeing and mental health of school staff. In a recent YouGov research programme, more than 50% of primary and secondary school staff indicated that they're feeling higher stress levels than ever. Concerns about the welfare of the children and the staff, delivery of learning, how schools can manage to keep everybody safe, all of this is contributing to heightened anxiety. And so we've put together this wellbeing programme to provide some tools and techniques that should help our staff members feel more in control and feel more able to cope with the stresses upon them. Staff with good well-being are more confident, motivated, and very importantly, more able to bounce back from situations and difficulties. And the well-being of our staff affects not just the individual, but the other staff, the people they work with, and in turn the pupils. So the aim of this session is to ensure that all staff know how important they are and to provide them with tools and techniques that we hope can help with well-being. The sessions have been put together by a number of people who are qualified counsellors, people with backgrounds in psychology, people who are practicing counsellors and have a good understanding of therapeutic practices. But very importantly, there are also people experienced with working in schools, which means that the ideas that we come up with are very practical. They are sensible things that can be built into the working day of a school, and also they're things that can in turn be modelled to pupils to help with their well-being. So on this session, we start off with an explanation of what well-being is. And then very importantly, we go through a discussion of how we can recognise when our well-being is being impacted on negatively, both in ourselves and people we work with. A really useful session on how to spot when you're in trouble, other people are in trouble, some of the symptoms, being aware of the kinds of things that can affect well-being in different people. And once we have an understanding of some of the impacts of negative well-being, we can start to work our way through some of the tools and techniques that can be a help. There are many of these, and as I said, we want them to be practical and we want them to be usable. So we then work our way through a number of different tools and techniques. In each of them, we introduce the concept. We then, with the delegate, we go through some examples, and we end with a little suggestion of what they could do next to utilise this tool. So some of the tools that we work through then are as follows. We start off with a look at mindfulness, hugely important for well-being generally, but very applicable to schools. We run through some practical exercises during a session. So we do a body scan, we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise, and a little exercise on mindful observation. All of this obviously follows an introduction and an explanation to what mindfulness is about. We then talk through some other ideas, different aspects of mindfulness that might work well with different people. And at the end of this session on mindfulness, we set a little task or a little question. What could you do in school What could you do that might just be a mindful minute, or it might be a something once a week that you do with other members of staff. And this kind of is the way that we approach each topic. Give lots of ideas and thoughts, and then we ask the person to think about how they could incorporate it into their life. We then move on to a section on breathing exercises. And again, very practical things to be done at your desk or to be done in particular scenarios and situations. Brilliant again for pupils to introduce the concept of breathing exercises if they're stressed during exams or at times of conflict. Our next session is on guided imagery. So again, it's giving people the ability to take themselves to a more calm, quiet, some people call it their happy place, as a way of managing stress, anxieties, and regaining a sense of calm. We then do a little session on more physical well-being. And so we do a little session which is about doing things like yoga or tai chi, but not full-blown yoga sessions. Little things you can do at your desk, little things you can do stood up in the office, or things that you might choose just to have a walk around the block and do. And with this, we actually do a practical office-based tai chi session, literally sat at your desk. So again, it's introducing the concept of physical techniques for mindfulness and for relaxation and for managing your well-being. Another session is on the use of positive affirmations. Again, fantastically good to model and pass on to pupils. So framing the way you look and think and talk to yourself in order to raise more positive outcomes. And then we go through a session which introduces a whole load of other ideas. Just a short session, but things that might appeal to different people. And so at the top there we've got the idea of mindfulness colouring, which is very popular. But we talk more generally about physical crafting. So crafting tends to be something people find is positive for well-being because it forces their attention to the present and to focus on something very specific. We talk about meditation, picture in the top right-hand corner. We talk about the use perhaps of music as a form of managing well-being. So this is a general session where we do quite a lot of other ideas that might appeal to different types of people. We then have a session on sleep and the importance of sleep on our well-being, and we talk about things that can impact on our sleep and ways that we can improve the quality of the sleep that we're getting. Then a very important section on talking and active listening, where we encourage the use of talking as a means for well-being. And as part of this session, we ask the delegate to think about whether this is something that could be introduced into schools. Is there someone that could be a designated talk therapist? Or could you make it common practice that you have a once a week staff meeting or just a general once a week meeting with people who would like to talk? They'd like to be able to get things off their chest. So the importance of talking and active listening. And as part of that, we just go through some of the techniques that are important with active listening so that you can encourage other people to offload whatever it is they need to offload. It's important because it is the treatment of choice for the NHS for mental well-being issues, and it is unbelievably useful. We then have a kind of second section to the well-being programme, which is more to do with the lower box here, which is how we can think about feeling more in control more satisfied, more of a sense of purpose in our lives, which is more really about thinking where you are in your life at the moment and perhaps where you want to be going. So this does kind of ask some big questions about, are you happy? Are you satisfied? When you look back at your life, what do you want to have achieved? But in quite a supportive and joyful way. And one of the techniques that we use is the idea of vision boards. So in one of the final sessions in the Wellbeing programme, we introduce the concept of what's your vision? Where do you want to be? We run through a guided visualisation and we get the person to write down some aspects of what they would like to be, do, have, achieve, and then we give them the information so that they can go away afterwards and create something of this line, which is a vision board, and we talk about how to use it, where to put it and what to do with it. So that kind of comes at the end of our wellbeing session. Our very last topic then that we cover is gratitude. Gratitude has been found in many studies to have a massively positive effect on people's well-being, and so we run through some fun and useful sessions and tools that can be used to encourage the practice of gratitude. Again, fabulously good to model with pupils. So we get to the end of our session having covered many topic areas, giving people lots of practical notes, worksheets, examples, ideas and thoughts. As many people as you like from your school can complete this training, this wellbeing programme, all individually, all at their own pace, or of course you could sit down and do one topic as a team. So if you would like to know more, the website is on the screen at the moment. Please do get in touch. Thank you very much.